good afternoon, everyone, and good evening. Again, since now we're being watched, let's behave. No, I'm just kidding. I often try not to take too much time of the speaker, but also when I'm anxiously waiting to speak, right? Sometimes like, oh, when it's going to end. But I would like to bring to you, not taking too much of your time again. I'm sorry, Alba, but to bring to our hearts the importance of this topic, communication with the spirits. We often go through moments of our lives that things are exacerbated, right? That we make decisions sometimes that we feel that I wasn't not expecting to feel this way or to act that way, that impulse or not. Or sometimes we feel that, you know what, I should have done something that I didn't do. Something stopped me, right? And we often think, why, right? And here's the reality: communication with spirit, the reality of us living on both realms of life. And there's no better place, by I would like to say, no better person to explain this to us as well tonight. But I want to start this reading a passage of the Gospel according to Spiritism, item 5 of chapter 1, entitled Spiritism, that says, Spiritism is this new science that has come to reveal to humans, by means of irrefutable proofs, the existence and nature of the spirit world and its revelations with the corporeal world. I'll stop right here with the intent again for us to really think about this reality, right? About this help, more often than not, as well as the dangers of it, right? And I'm sure Alba will give us this better understanding of what we're talking about. But for us to really think as spirits, we're dealing with both sides. That's how we pray. That's why we pray not only for ourselves, but all to the other side. Because we bring our baggage with us, we bring our friends with us. I like to, for some of us who may not remember, bring that idea of the commercial, right? I think it was, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but there was a telephone company years ago that was using, that connection, right? That better connection that we have with one another. And there was a group of people following us, right? It happens with us more often than we think. So it's important. It's extremely of value for us. So let's take to heart and connect with the message and bless our dear friend Alba, who worked so hard to present this to us. Thank you.
Good evening. Hello, hello. Can you hear me now? Talking about a telephone company. Hello, everyone. Welcome again. Leo, I think you are communicating with the good spirits here because the first idea that I want to communicate, or we want to communicate to you, is that the main purpose and the most important point, the center point for Spiritism is the communication with the spirits. Something happened? I'm good, I'm good, okay. Oh, do I need to be here? Where? Okay. If we see to this side of the room, we have a lot of books and CDs, etc. Most of them, 99.9% of these materials here are communications from the spirits through a human being that is called a medium. So the whole point of us being spirits, besides doing good and following the gospel, right, the teachings of Jesus, is like we know there is a supreme intelligence, and that we know that our main essence, our true selves, is a spirit, and that we communicate to one another. So to today's presentation, it's a rewind. We already present this topic here at the center, different people, different speakers, this speaker too, and it's just for us just to remember, if we don't remember, to get to know if we don't know, And just as Leo invite us to think about our true nature and the nature of the spirit world. So allow us to start with this excerpt from Acts 5:16. Crowds gathered also from the towns around Jerusalem, bringing their sick and those tormented by evil spirits, and all of them were healed. And we're bringing these just to provide the like a framework for our presentation today. Meaning, this is a topic that, or this is a phenomena that is being on planet Earth since we are humans on the planet. And there are different cultures with different expressions, bringing us this idea of communicating with the spirits. But also, we found this is a mosaic in which in the middle is Mary of Nazareth and the disciples. And it's a Catholic representation of the Holy Spirit. Basically, it's to represent when they receive, we're talking in terms of Catholicism, the gifts, the gift of prophecy and the gift of tongues. In other words, mediumship. And all of them, they were mediums. And in the Jewish tradition and the Jewish culture, this was part of their culture. They communicate with the spirits. But Jesus brought it to a whole new level, and it's to the level of service. Because there are sick people and those who are tormented by evil spirits. Evil spirits in Spiritism, we know, they are ignorant spirits. There are people like us without this physical body that they are ignorant. Ignorant about what? About the laws of God. Or they are seeking revenge. Or they are lost. Or they are afraid. Oh, there are so many situations. For whatever situation it is, a discarnate spirit is consistently persecuting an incarnate one, and we call this obsession. It's because there is a story between these two. There is something that will happen in the past. Are we going to be afraid? No, this happened to all of us every day. When we are awake and we are sleeping, this is not to make us feel afraid, but for some people, even at Jesus' times, they didn't say, oh, he or she is obsessed. They say, he or she is possessed. And if you remember that part of the gospel in which there is this man, and please forgive us, we don't remember what of the gospels, but it was this man, this old man that was in desperation because his son was possessed. And when he was possessed, he was acting weird and shooting loud, talking loud, misbehaving and taking his clothes off and all sort of things, and he was even tried several times to commit suicide of desperation. So Jesus, in his kindness and gentleness, say, okay, show me where is your son. So they go to a field, and the son is there, and there is, how do you call a pig? A group of pigs. I don't know, in Spanish it's a miriada, but I don't know. Okay, a group of pigs were there. Eating or whatever pigs do, right? So Jesus come, and just by talking, he say, oh no, there is no one. I'm paraphrasing. We are paraphrasing. There are many here that are tormenting this man. So it was a group of them. And according with the gospel, all the pigs, they just start running and they fall into an abyss. We don't know what it means because we, as a spiritists, we know there is science, and we know that a human spirit cannot inhabit or be connected to an animal. But it seems like the vital energy of these animals, Jesus used it to help this man to disconnect from his tormentors. So today we are going to talk about that specific disconnection, how it happens, where it does happen, when it's safe, where it's not safe, and in general, how all of us, we are mediums. Mediums means, well, we're going to see what it means, okay? So here it is, what is mediumship? Is the act, not the person. So we went to this book that is called Mediumship, All You Need to Know by Richard Simonetti. And I'm reading here just to emphasize, it says, in its simplest definition, mediumship is being sensitive to the influences of the spirit realm. Okay, being sensitive is the sixth sense. Remember the movie, The Sixth Sense? Okay. Who was the spirit and who was the medium? No, I'm asking, in The Sixth Sense, who was the spirit and who was the medium? There are two main characters. Say it, blah.
The kid was the medium, and Bruce Willis was the spirit.
Yes, that's right. Did we spoil the movie? Spoil the movie. Sorry, it's like I saw all that we thought. Yes, Sixth Sense. The kid is the medium, and he says, I see dead people. You know, because in Hollywood they need to put all these ooh thing, but it is not. It is not. We are going to see that is not that spooky thing. But yes, it's a sixth sense. And here Richard Simonetti continues saying, like our five senses, the touch, taste, smell, that we need as a human beings to get in touch and in contact with our physical world. So since we are spirits doing this journey in a physical body that is a temporary dress or a temporary suit that we have, well, it's normal that if we are spirits, we can communicate with the spirits because eventually we will be. All of us, we have a due date. We don't know when, but it's a due date. So we are going to let this physical body to nurture our planet Earth, and then we are moving to the spirit realm. But it's up to us, it depends up to us, and what part of the spirit realm we're going to move. We're going to leave it there. So mediumship is this sensibility, this capability, this faculty to feel, to see, to hear, to communicate with spirits. All right? And then in the Medium's book, which is a whole book about mediumship and mediums, right? Allan Kardec, he wrote there that every individual who senses the influence of spirits to any degree of intensity is a medium. This faculty is inherent to humankind and is therefore does not constitute an exclusive privilege. So here is when we say, be aware of those who proclaim themselves like I can communicate with God, I can communicate with Benjamin Franklin, and you don't. I have the power, follow me. And we see so many of these people around the world because they feel they are entitled to someone. But guess what? All of us, Albita, I don't feel anything, nothing, zero. What you're talking about? Well, there are degrees of sensitivity. So some of us, we are more prone, more sensible to the spirit world, and some others we are not. But there is an easy way to see that we are communicating in a daily basis, in a minute to minute with the spirit world. It's when we are having all these inner conversations in our mind, even when we are brushing our teeth. That is a time that we used to think. So even if we are saying, so then I'm going to this place and then I'm going to this other place. Oh, and then we thought about someone, a friend, all of a sudden, pop, oh, my friend, Joanna. Huh, it's a long time I don't talk to her. Okay, I continue brushing my teeth. I go to my things. Later on that night, I receive a phone call from Joanna. Not Joanna the Angelis, Joanna, my friend. Sometimes it happened something simple. She was scared. She almost had a car accident. Nothing bad happened, but she connected. She sent us that thought. And then spirit come and say, hey, call Joanna, check on Joanna. Or when we are driving in a street and then we say, you know what, this is my normal route, my normal way, but I don't know why I want to take this other shortcut here. And later we know that something happened in our normal route. A pipe broke and everybody was late to work or to school or to whatever. It's not like a big deal. It's not like this is the end of the world and I'm going to communicate to you as a spirit. Well, there are people that they receive this type of messages. But in a day-to-day life, all of us, we have this communication, and it happens more often than we think. So when we have good ideas, creative ideas, ideas that are going to bring something good to me or to others, those ideas, we are not the authors. We are not so bright to have all these ideas. Even if we are going to celebrate a birthday party and we have an inspiration. No, those simple ideas that we see are coming from a friend, a spirit friend, a family protector that is saying, you know what? Leito, he prefers white chocolate instead of the dark chocolate. Am I right? You see? I'm a medium. No, just, sorry, just. Uh, but going back to the good ideas, creativity, people in the arts, in science, in sports, in companies, just creating programs. I don't know, something that is beautiful and that is good for me or for others is coming from the source of the good spirits. And the opposite happened again, happened as well. Everything that is negative is coming also from the spiritual company that we have. So we are all the time, we are so grumpy. If we don't like, if it's hot, we don't like it is cold, we don't like the coffee is too dark or it's too sweet, and we are complaining, and I don't like this person, and look at her, how she's look, how dare she's looking at me that way. And we are super negative all the way, all day. Guess who is going to be next to us? Spirits that rejoice and feed in this type of ideas and thoughts. And then the question is, well, Albita, but if all the time I'm communicating with the spirits, what about me? I don't have a brain. I don't have my own ideas. Like, come on, I have good ideas. I'm bad too. I make mistakes. Yes, we are. Yes, we do have our very own brains and our very own minds. The mind is in the spirit. The brain is the physical organ that reflects the mind that is in somewhere in the spirit. Um, and we do have our own thoughts and our own ideas. So when we are going, we need to make a decision. And we're going to provide a silly example, just but a decision that is important in our life, right? Where I'm going to work today. Uh, so we are thinking, oh, should I wear the black sweater or the red sweater? And this is the silly example. So we are thinking, oh, I think the black one because makes me, I feel slim with the black one. And then a second thought comes in that, you know what, but the red is so happy and it's so joyful, you should wear it. Very first thought that we had about what I'm going to wear today is us. That's our very own idea, our very own is us, whatever is our name in this reincarnation. The second thought, or third, or fourth, and obviously we're talking here about serious decisions, right? It's not what I'm going to wear today. That's something that we can do by ourselves. Serious decisions. I'm just looking here, our young crowd, right? And I'm thinking when you are at the point of deciding going to college, for instance, that's a serious decision. It's important what we're going to do there. So then is when we receive there this inspiration. But the first thought about it, oh, I think I'm going to go to law school. I don't know. That's us ourselves. And the seconds, some other influences. Okay? So we are all mediums. And this is not an exclusive privilege. Some other people are more sensitive, and we're going to see why. So in the same book, the Medium's book, there is this explanation. I'm sorry, didn't choose a nice color for the blue squares. It's okay. So let us see the picture that is beneath the boxes. And if you see this little ball here, ay, gracias, thank you. Yeah, this little one, right? Is the pineal gland. Did I say it right? I don't know. You tell me. Is the pineal gland. So initially, when we are growing up, it's okay, Janet, I think. When we are children, the pineal gland has a function, a specific function, we know we're growing, etc. But then when we go to adulthood, according to science, it doesn't have like a really uh, it's not really like doing something special for us. And please forgive us, this is information that we got a couple of years ago, probably something more accurate now, that the pineal gland is doing something good for our bodies, right? But other than that, this is a very tiny gland that is formed with crystals. And these crystals are very sensible, receptive. The other day we were reading that the pineal gland of cats are a little bit bigger than the human. We don't know if this has a scientific basis or not, but cats are very receptive to things that we don't see. Again, this is not a fact, please. But we thought, oh, this is cool. This is nice because it's telling us that the crystals in the pineal gland is helping us like these lights that they use in the airports when it's late at night just to guide the planes to land, or like a lighthouse by the ocean, right? Just to guide the ships so they don't crash or crash. So the pineal gland, for some people, is like the lighthouse. The crystals, the little tiny, we need a microscope to check those crystals, are more permeable. And we don't see it with our physical eyes, But all of us, we are now with our lighthouse is over here, in the middle. The spirits, they can see that light. And please, we are using light just to use a metaphor. It's not like a ping pong, right? But it's a way, if I'm walking on the street, I'm a very sensible medium, and I'm with my lighthouse, with my pineal gland there, the spirit. Oh, ooh, I can communicate here. Have you watched the movie? And now I forgot. Godstown with the this comedian. He's from England. Well, he's a dentist, a very grumpy dentist, and he has a minimal procedure one day, and he wakes up, he goes home, and there a whole bunch of people start walking after him, and he's like, and he's a no people person, you know. So he's very surprised. What is going on? What happened? You know? And as the people are walking, there are more and more coming, and they are talking among themselves. And they, can, he can see us, right? Oh, yes, he can. He can. Oh, my God, he can see us. And everybody's following him, even to his apartment. And he's like, what is going on? And he closed the door and everything is good. He goes to sleep. And then all the people is over there leaning on his bed, looking at him. And he opened the eyes and like, what are you doing here? Well, they are spirits. And they knew that something happened in his pineal gland during that procedure. What was it? We don't know. But this is just to give a graphic example, right? So in the Minions book, there is, and we're going to do this very quick, there are two types of mediumship: the physical effects and the intellectual effects. Physical effects, things that move, a pen that moves. In the times of Allan Kardec, 1860 something, the tables that were going around, physical effects. We know Chico Xavier in Brazil, using his very own ectoplasm to create the figure of a spirit there, because the spirit will look. I don't know if someone is there, but if I use ectoplasm, it's a complicated process, but we then can see the shape of someone that is here, and it is kind of white milk. That is a physical effect. There are also some studies, especially for teenagers, that there are some teenagers that all of a sudden in their houses are haunted houses. And what happened is, because they are growing, and her hormones and everything is a great stimulus in the pineal gland, and they don't know they are being mediums. So there are some spirits that they just like to play and move objects from one side to the room to the other. And they don't know it's because of the teenagers. They are mediums, you know? So physical effects. Intellectual effects, it has to be more with the products that are going to enlighten our intellect. Like the writing communication, the verbal or oral communication, the paintings, And then there is a division, I don't know. Would you like to turn off the light? Just for you to see. We're not going to explain all of these things. Go ahead. And then there are different types of mediumship, like a physical effects, sensitive, hearing, speaking, seeing, somnambulistic, healing, pneumatographical, and psychographic. So let us turn on. So physical effects, we already did it. Sensitive is when we enter a room or we enter a new place and we say, oh, I don't like it here. Or the opposite is like, I feel so peaceful here. That's the sensitivity, right? Hearing is when we are hearing voices that are not coming from our mind, voices of people talking, like the movie Guts, in which Guppy Wahlberg. A full disclose, we weren't preparing to talk about movies. It's just, it's coming. So definitely my beloved mentor is telling me to do something. So Guppy Wahlberg is the medium in Guts. She don't see the Patrick, whatever last name. What's the last name of the actor? Swayzer. So she hears him. He's asking her for a specific favor, and she doesn't want to. And even at night, he torments, tortures her. He kept talking and talking and talking and talking the whole entire night, and it doesn't matter. She covers her ears. She keeps listening to him because it's not through our physical senses; it's through our spirit. So she hears the spirit, the Guppy word. The speaking ones, there are two different ways to do the speaking. Is either the spirit manipulates directly the vocal cords of the medium, and that is called mechanical medium. So manipulate directly the vocal cords and communicate the message, and the medium most of the time doesn't know what is going on, what is the message, what they're talking about. And also the speaking can be semi-mechanical, in which the medium the medium is basically listening to the spirit and communicating what he or she is saying, and the medium has control over his or her vocal cords. Seeing is seeing the spirits. And for some mediums with a very sensitive mediumship or ostensible mediumship, some of them say, it's difficult to distinguish between incarnate and discarnate, like in the movie Divaldo, when he's working in this office of records and he needs to attend the public. And here he comes, an old lady or an old gentleman asking for some dead records. So he goes, to the front and say, "Hey, what can I do for you?" Da-da-da, da-da-da. And his all the other people in the office is looking like this guy is crazy because there's no one there. And he continued talking, like, "What can I do? Oh, let me check in the files, like the old-fashioned way. Let me check in the files." And everybody's like, "What is going on?" So he confided in one of his partners and said, "You know what? These I see spirits." So she said, "Okay, so let's do something. When someone approach, if I can see the person, because I'm not ostensible medium, I'm going to let you know. But if I don't see anybody approaching the desk, I'm going also to make a signal to you." So that way, Divaldo Franco, the renewed medium, he found a way to attend the public and distinguish between incarnate and discarnate. All right? Sonambulistic mediumship is being having is being sonambulic, or having sonambulism is basically when your perispirit expand and your spirit is perceiving things in the environment, and you can communicate what is going on in the environment. There is no communication. But if it happened that there is a spirit there and the spirit is communicating something, so then there is a sonambulistic mediumship. But in order to be a mediumship phenomena, it needs to be a spirit communicating something to an incarnate one. Then we have the healing one, which is a very rare type of mediumship, like Jesus. And then the pneumatographical, which is over here, I don't have the pointer, is it says that, let's say, a writing message appears by itself. So none of the incarnate people in the meeting is touching the piece of paper or the pen. It just kind of it just appear. Well, it's actually the direct action of the spirit over the objects, just writing, communicating a message. And psychographic is when you need the medium to write the message. Like in the movie, The Mothers of Chico Xavier, in which he is all about all the letters that he received from spirits. Most of these spirits, they were children that passed away before their parents. And these letters are coming to comfort the hearts of the mothers and the fathers. It's a beautiful movie. And then we have the mechanical mediumship, intuitive, semi-mechanical, inspired. All of us, we can be inspired. And prescient talks about the future. Some mediums, they have the capability to foresee the future. So why? Why are we having all these communications? What is it? What's the main purpose? In the medium's book, Allan Kardec asked, what is your purpose most of the time in asking the spirits to communicate? And this spirit named Massillon said, our purpose is to make you better. For us, the serious individual is not the one who avoids laughter, but the one whose heart is touched by our words, who meditates on them and puts them into practice. So here we come to a part in which mediumship in our daily lives, we say, okay, but then there is a serious practice of mediumship. And that's the main purpose of having a spirit center, the mediumistic meeting. And what happened in a mediumistic meeting is we have some enlightened spirits that they come and provide messages for us, as well as there are some suffering spirits that they are in need of help. So we move to the dissociation meeting at the Spirit Center. And we want to bring an anecdote from Dr. Juan Danilo Rodriguez. He is from Ecuador. He's a holistic doctor. His education was like a regular doctor, and then he went to holistic. And currently he lives in Brazil. He is Divaldo's doctor, and also a good friend, a good partner, and good spiritist. So here we have Dr. Juan Danilo in Ecuador in 1999 or something like that. He is a professor in university. He's giving his class on anatomy, let us say. He didn't know anything about spirits or about communication with the spirit. His mind was a rational mind, a scientific mind, very bright guy. And he was giving this class, and all of a sudden he feels, I need to talk with the girl over there, with that student. Oh, this is awkward. And he continued teaching, but he feels like an impulse, like a wave that comes to him. You need to let that student over there, you need to let her know this message. And he's like, no, I know what happened. I'm very tired. I'm hallucinating. All the rational mind is doing this. At the end of the class, he say, okay, so be it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to let the girl know, to communicate the message, and I will resolve my inner conflict, and it's the end of the story. So he approaches the girl, communicates the message. We don't know what was the message, actually, but he communicates the message, and she's like, yes, she confirms whatever was the information, she confirms, and she say, thank you. I needed that. So Dr. Juan Danilo said, this is very strange. I need to study this. So the next week, he asked 10 of his students to volunteer. And after the class, they sit there. And then Dr. Juan Danilo stands say, oh, you know what, Samia, uh, I have this message for you, tarari, tarari, and Leo, and blah. And they're messages from people who are already discarnate, already passed. And everybody was like, oh, wow. But he's not convinced. So he asked this group of 10 students to look for people that Dr. Juan Danilo, he doesn't know, because he thinks, oh, maybe I know blah. I know your parents. I know where you live. I know. So maybe I'm just putting all this information together in my brain and I'm giving you a message. So the next week it happened. 10 people that he didn't know, and voila. Well, the situation is he's still kept skeptical. He thinks that it must be a rational reason, physical reason for this. He spent 7 years doing this. 7 years. Every time with different people, every time with positive results. Like a people is confirming, yes, this is a message. So he got to a point in which, okay, what I am going to do with all this information that I collect from 7 years of studying this phenomena that I don't know what it is. So he was working in his office. He was volunteering in a certain office as a doctor, and usually it was packed with people. But that afternoon, he didn't have any single patient. So he was there in his office by himself thinking, what is my next step with this research? When a spirit friend came to him and say, you need tonight, when all these people come, you need to open the door, welcome them, and say, welcome to the Spirit Center. I am a spiritist, therefore you are a spiritist. And let the people in. And Dr. Juan Danilo was like, no, wait, no. I am not a spiritist. I'm not going to do what you're telling me. That doesn't make sense. I don't have any knowledge about it. I'm not going to do it. And he refused. The spirit, and also he said, I don't have any even materials. What is the spiritism? I don't even have materials. In that time in Ecuador, it was only like a one spirit center in Quito, and he was in a city called San Francisco. So the spirit says, okay, go to this website. Dr. Juan Danilo start typing, and the spirit say, stop. And the spirit completed the address, the web. So he was like, okay, this is, And actually it was for the Spanish Spiritist Federation. Boom, he has all the PDFs for the codification, the la carte codification, all the books. And the spirit say, now you have the knowledge there. He said, but I don't know anything about it. And you don't need to know anything about it. You just need to open the book and study together. That's it. And the spirit say, by the way, don't expect 10 people today. And Juan Danilo says, yes, I know, because when you invite 10, like a 2 will come. So I'm okay. I think I can do it tonight. And the spirit says, no, there are 30 people who is coming tonight. He's like, no, I only invite 10. Just wait. Okay. The appointed hour, he opens the door. There are 30 people there. And he's completely amazed. And he say, how did you know about the meeting? I have a dream that I'm supposed to come here today at this time. Okay. How did you know about this meeting? Oh, the friend of my friend told me, and I think it's going to be a nice meeting. Like, he didn't know any of the people there, but somehow they got to know. He was about to close the door of this room. And then next to his medical office, it was a sport complex. And a lot of youth, they were doing sports there. So here comes a young guy just running. It seems like he's late for his class or for his sport, and he is with a book, and all of a sudden he kind of put his head inside the room and say, "Oh, it seems he's here." And Dr. Juan Danilo is like, "Is here what?" "Oh, somebody told me to bring this book and give it to you. Bye." And he runs. Dr. Juan Danilo reads the book, The Gospel According to Spiritism. And that was his very first meeting in Ecuador. And the rest is story. So the purpose of mediumship is to do good, to connect us with God and goodness. And this is a serious issue. So the idea is not for us. First, let us not be afraid. But second, let us not be light. I communicate with the spirits. Let me work with the Ouija. No, it's very dangerous. This communication needs to happen in a let us say in a clean, aseptic environment. If we want to receive a message or want to help the spirits, it needs to be organized. It needs to be at the same time, on the same day, with a serious group of people that is prepared, that is studying, and also studying is not enough. These people, they need to walk the talk, that's the expression. So if we proclaim here, oh, let's do good, let's serve the humanity, well, actually, at least Miss Albita here, because this talk is for Miss Albita too. I need to go out and do my part, because then it won't work. It won't work. So these meetings are serious meetings. There is a group of people, there are mediums. All of them are mediums in the mediumistic meeting, but with different types of mediumship. So there is a medium that communicates, either to speaking or writing. That's the most common ones. There is a counselor or someone that is going to speak with the suffering spirit. And we say the spirit may be lost, just discarnate, never ever in his or her life hear about life after life, and then is lost, doesn't understand why his family or her family is not listening to her, but I go there to the house and everybody's crying and I say, I'm here, and this type of spirits, so many different ones. Someone that is regretful, a lot of, like us, with all our pains and sorrows. And then the counselor, through inspiration, receive the words of the spiritual counselor and start talking with the person, with the spirit. The spirit receives a treatment. There is a prayer, end of the night. And then the team analyze the messages and see, okay, this seems like a serious message. Is going to bring comfort. Oh, probably there are personal messages that are specific. This message is to Albita from grandma. So we analyze, is truly grandma style, everything, before we give it to the person, okay? And in this book, Spiritist Therapy for Discarnates, by, now I forgot, Nilson Sosa Pereira, he says the following. Jesus, when facing unhappy spirits from beyond the grave, act as the supreme psychotherapist, persuading them to change their behavior. And that's what happened in a disobsession meeting. His disciples later kept up this ministry, abiding by the lessons they had been taught and applying these lessons with wisdom and love to help troubled and hateful spirits. And the whole point here, dear friends, why we do a mediumistic meeting, It's not just to have fun or because we don't have anything to do in a specific night during the week. It's to serve. It's to be charitable. Let us think about us when we are in moments of darkness, when we are ill, physical illnesses, mental illnesses, moral illnesses, relationships, financial problems, and you name it, because we are living on this earth. It is not nice to have a friend next to us. It is not nice to have a family member say, hey, I'm feeling blue today. And we receive some encouragement. Someone hug us. Others is like, let us have a cup of tea or coffee or a Coke, whatever we like. But we receive that. We have it. And if we are in need, we go to a doctor, a medical doctor, or we go to a therapist, a mental health therapist, or we receive the therapist that we know and we do what we need to do to take care of ourselves. But the spirits that are suffering, they're stagnated in their suffering. In their minds, the only thing that is real and the only thing that is happening is their pain. And everything is dark and everything is blurred and they cannot see or hear others 24/7, sometimes for years. We have had in our mediumistic room, if the directors here allow me to mention, we had soldiers that discarnate in Second World War, desperate, looking for their families, their lots, and for them time doesn't exist. It's the present all the time suffering. So that's the reason of the disobsession meeting. Is an act of charity. And if the vital energies of the mediumistic team, the 5 or 6 or 10 people that is sitting around the table, we help them to move forward, to give a step forward in their evolutionary journey, let us do it. But as all of us, we are mediums, we can help also our discarnate friends suffering by praying. And if one day all of a sudden we feel like, oh, I shouldn't enter this room, it feels I never should come to this place, let us pray to protect ourselves and to help the spirit there, because we are a role model for them. And we would like to bring the words of Emmanuel from the book In the Realms of Mediumship. He says this: however, what we want to emphasize in this account is the need to keep Christ in our hearts and minds in order not to become disoriented upon coming in contact with mediumistic phenomena. That's why we need to keep studying and keep doing good and serving, because then we will go astray. Without the notion of responsibility, without the devotion to the practice of good, without the love of studying, and without a persevering effort in our own personal moral education, the liberating pilgrimage toward higher life is impossible. Meaning, whoever is working in the disobsession meeting, we have the duty, as we read in the gospel, of better ourselves. Because then there are some spirits that came to us and say, oh, you're fake, you're hypocrites. They use these words because they can see what we were or what we really are. And the counselor usually respond, oh, we know. We are here with a good intention and we're doing an effort to be a better person than we were in the past. So let us continue with this line of thought about charity, and this is from the book Discarnate. Charity is the soul of Spiritism, through which mediumship can help discarnate spirits who have carried onto the spiritual realm the moral problems that used to afflict them during physical life. Spiritism offers an efficient form of psychotherapy for those unhappy spirits. It's a psychotherapy to close a cycle, to conclude an issue, a matter, and to reinitiate or to continue with whatever is awaiting for us in our lives. We are going to close with this affirmation by Teilhard de Chardin. We are no human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, this presentation won't be complete if we don't bring a mediumistic message to us. We received this message at our mediumistic meeting. The date's there. I think it was last week. So let us open our eyes and ears of our spirit and let us receive this message from the good spirits. We are living grave problems on planet Earth. We are out of balance in nature, in society, in the mind. Don't let your heart grieve for the apparent natural catastrophes. They are consequences of your own actions, and they are as well opportunities for renewal. Good actions, faith, and compassion are displayed heroically in the midst of suffering and tremor. Stay strong and stand morally strong as times of hardship are coming for all. Remember the words of our kind master at the top of the mountain. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Endure your trials with a serene attitude and a jovial heart. Your physical eyes can only contemplate the gray skies. Look with the eyes of your soul and see the bright stars, perceive the constant heat and splendor of the sun, because the darkest hours of the day are right before dawn. Rejoice, because we are close to the dawn of a new era. We respect and love a spirit that named himself Calixto. We don't know him. And this message was a psychographic message, meaning it was writing, received on February 20th at the mediumistic meeting at the Spiritist Society of Baltimore. Thank you.
Okay. Leave it there. Thank you. Drink some water.
Yes, I will.
I would like to open up this moment then to first of all say thank you, Alba, for this beautiful presentation, for this reminder, as we said at the beginning and throughout the message as well, that is a reality for all of us, and it's a moment for us to take it to heart. And again, the re-emphasis on the fact that we're all mediums, right? We all feel things at times. We all debate with ourselves as we were brushing our teeth, as Alba mentioned. But it's definitely a moment for us to understand the importance of this in our lives. With that, I would like to open up for questions, comments that we may have, clarifications perhaps, anything that comes to heart that is obviously connected with the message. I will try to alternate a little bit. as we take a question or comment from here, as well as our brothers and sisters online. That make it bigger, Leo. Huh? Right there. Okay. It's kind of, we can see herself infinitely right there, right? It's nice. Hello, Yasko. Hello, everyone following us online as well. Um, the first question, Danny already put up here. I was going to start here, but that's okay. We'll give it to Yasko as if she was here with us, right? As she is always here with us. Hi, dear Albert. It seems the help of or warning from the good spirits happens to Chico Xavier, to Defaldo. Raul Teixeira, who is another, for those who does not know, Raul Teixeira is a very hard worker in the spirits movement, who's also a medium. And not to common people like most of us. Is it because of their mediumship mission and their higher awareness of the spiritual influence, or it happens to us, but we don't recognize the signals?
Hi, Jasquito. Hi. Uh, you answered the question. Since we are all mediums, we all have the opportunity and the chance to receive inspiration from the good spirits, for the mentors or guardian angels, whatever we want to call. We are. The situation is we are so distracted. We are very ground to our materialistic reality that trying to connect with the spirit is like 3 minutes before going to bed. Thank you, Lord, for this day. So if we do situation, that's good, right? But if we are only doing that for our spiritual growing, we are not going to develop our very own mediumship. Albeit means that all of us, we need to be trained as a mediums and go to the mediumship meeting. No. But it's for us to help us in our day-to-day life. We were thinking about, actually, Jasco, we were thinking about this when we were preparing the presentation. Why I don't feel this enlightened message coming. So we got the image of like an astronaut, right? That when they are out there in the space, they have all these suits and how do you call the helmet and things. So you just see a fluffy person flying there on the space, but that fluffy suit is not the astronaut, is not the person. The person is inside of so many layers of fabric and special material. So that's our body. And our spirit is not inside of our body, actually is attached to our body. But we are so distracted trying to manipulate this physical body. Just thinking the astronaut, it's very heavy. Just Google, please Google. What's the weight of that suit? So you got so distracted that we forget. But we are all can connect. Meditation is a great way. Our friend here in the first row can tell us also about yoga. It's a great way, right? Prayer is a great way. And just being alert, awake about what is around us, especially the beautiful things. It's not like we have snow today. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome. It's how beautiful. Look how tiny they are. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, Alba. Any questions, folks? Any comments that you may have that you would like to? Paula?
Paula, be good.
I will. Oh, thank you. No, I loved it. I'm right in line with your thinking. I've always been interested in the close relationship between mental illness, mediumship, obsession. So I was thinking about schizophrenia in particular and wondering if once the schizophrenic is effectively treated, wouldn't they almost be like a natural medium if they could be trained in the correct way to do mediumship?
I see. Thank you, Paula. When we talk about mental health illnesses, um, I- there are so many sources for that, right? There are so many roots of different types of mental illnesses. In the case of schizophrenia, when the patient detaches he or himself from the reality, and it seems like it's living in another world and listening or hearing voices, seeing things and objects. So there are like two possible causes. It can be really physical, about the chemistry in our brain and about the predisposition of the person. Uh, and we know also that we have been living so many reincarnations, and schizophrenia, it is a way for us to repay, to pay, to fix situations that we did in the past. Because a lot of suffering in schizophrenia, because when and we're talking from a very close person that we know. So when they are aware, they know what is going on with them, right? But also, it could be, it can, let's say the cause is physical, it's organic, but then because of the, how do you say, the phenom, no, I'm blank. Phenomena? No, because of the expressions of the illness itself, there are spirits they're using that to torture, to upset, to so right. Is you are right, Paul, in the sense that if we treat the spirits along with the patient, it's very likely that the patient is going to improve. As a matter of fact, by your suggestion, a couple of years ago, we participated in a study by the University of Maryland because they were trying to actually identify to see what is the difference between a medium that sees and hears spirits and a schizophrenic person. We haven't seen the study yet, the results, um, but we were part of the study because it is important to know. But definitely in all mental illnesses, there is a organic and a spiritual component. So we can help ourselves with the organic part, with the medicines and the therapies and the treatment, and the spiritual part through the prayer, through the disobsession meeting. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will alleviates. It's so weird to see.
Thank you, Alba. Anyone else? Question, comment? Kirsten? Question, comments? No, I'm just kidding. I do have a question. You kind of touched on some of the resources with the anecdote that you mentioned. What his name again? In Ecuador?
The doctor?
Yes.
Dr. Juan Danilo Rodriguez, and he developed a technique that is called Aliana.
Thank you.
And he works very close now with autistic children and youth, and is providing a therapy that it has a spiritual component.
Thank you.
Mhm.
On that note, I would like to ask you, what in the practical ways, what if we're feeling these things? What if we're going through these things? What if we want to get more? What are the resources that we have, and where we can go, to get more information and learn more about it?
www.ssbbaltimore.com. No, seriously. Yes, thank you, because I was about to, I wanted to ask you something, but in a minute. Yes, what if I start feeling things, I don't know, it's me, my mind, my imagination, or is I'm feeling spirits, or of, someone here one day, and I think it's okay to share, came to me and say, Alba, when I finish my shower, you know how the mirrors are uh, fog, and it was like a something like a look like a lightning there, like someone with the finger. And this person was like, Alba, is that a message from the spirits? And she took a picture and everything, and was really concerned, So we need to analyze. But let's say that's the case, that we are all of a sudden we see signals. We need to educate ourselves. And the best source of education, we have it here in the Spirit's codification. But let us go to the Medium's book. It's the ABC. And it explains piece by piece how are we feeling, what to do, how to connect with. But it's important for us to discern. So let us study. Let us connect with the Spirit Center. And why we are saying Spirit Center? Because knowing any other spiritual or religious organization, first, are going to have the component of mediumship, or second, they are going to be serious about mediumship. There is something called in Brazil Umbamba, what is? Umbanda, which is respectful, right? We respect, but they connect with certain type of spirits that are bringing to the table certain type of messages, So for us to be guided and protected, we need to study, we need to do good, we need to serve others, to be a good person, a good individual, to get out of our selfish ways, our pride, and go to if you are here in the USA, go to the US Spiritist Federation. There is a list of different Spiritist centers across the country. Or I don't know, if you are in England, the UK, in Australia, there are so many different places. And now the codification is available online.
Thank you, Alba.
Mm-hmm.
I have other questions, but I don't want to keep asking. Juliana? Okay.
Julie? We got Julie.
Okay, so my question is, how do you go about that with children? I feel like I'm asking you this also because you were a main leader in our spike group, and even with my sister, I don't want to blast anybody or say her name, but she also had, growing up, a lot of questions. She would come to me even at night, or like she would, like, Julie, like I feel like I see things. But I feel like in the future, like with children myself, how would you go about that? Like if
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Julie. That's wonderful. I got good goosebumps. Going to be very transparent here, Julie. When I prepare in different sessions. It's not I see they prepare. One of the sessions that we're preparing, I couldn't take my thought out of you. I was preparing and I was thinking about you, because Juliana, she was very spontaneous in Spike when they were little, when they were children, and she was like, "Oh, so this person is saying tarari tarara," and the only adult in the room was Miss Albita or another adult, but Julie was like pointing out to someone else, or bringing such a mature ideas for someone that is 9 years old. So what happened when kids express the mediumship? That is very common, because since the day they were born until they are 7 years old, they are more connected with the spiritual world than the physical world. So the imaginary friends and all this stuff, there is no imaginary, they are friends, they are helping them to conclude the connection of the spirit to the body, because it's cell by cell. So just imagine, it needs 7 years and 9 months to be completed. So it's very natural. So as a parents or as an adult, we need to continue the conversation pretty natural. So our little friend comes here, "Mommy, I see grandma." "Okay, dear. What is she saying?" "Oh, she's saying hello." "Okay. Say hello for me." "Yeah." "Okay." It has happened, right? Okay, that is fine. Sometimes that mediumship can let's say, can stop for a time, and is that way because the good spirits are allowing the child to grow, to go to puberty, to go, and then the mediumship pop, reappears again when this person is 18, 22, whatever. So when it reappears and I start feeling things again, I need to educate myself. But with kids, it's very natural. It's not about being scared, and it is saying, and it's accepting also and acknowledge them, not taking them for granted. Did I answer your question? So a kid, a child, doesn't need to be a official medium in a mediumistic meeting. It is a no-no because the child does not have the maturity to deal with the situations that are there in the table. You need an adult, a mature mind, and someone with that, when you're little, everything is concrete, the concrete thought, I don't know in English. And then you move to adulthood, so you have, es pensamiento concreto y pensamiento, sorry to speak in English, abstract. So you need to have your abstract thought already. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Alba. Daniel?
No, that was very nice question from Julia. I just wanted to do a follow up in your answer. That's very important. You should treat normal, but never. I'm gonna repeat it time. Never, never encourage the kids to communicate with the spirit. Let the kid bring the information to you and treat naturally. But don't keep ask the kid to communicate because sometimes we don't know the nature of the spirit on the other side. Majority of the time it's the imaginary friend. So, but that's a very good question. Thank you, Alba.
Thank you, Daniel.
Paula?
This is only a piggyback question on teenage girls. I just got me started thinking. In Kardec's time, it seems that the majority of the mediums he was studying were teenage girls. And I just watched a very good conversation last night with an historical author on the subject of the Salem witch trials. And unfortunately, the majority of the people that were hurt in that experience were teenage girls. So I'm curious, with ostensible mediums that we know you are, do the awakenings come in the teenage years? What is so unique about teenage girls that they seem to relate more to this sensitivity? And then also, we know in modern research that the human brain doesn't really reach maturity until like 24, and that's at its best. It usually takes into the 20s. And what happens when the teenage girl, this thing awakens in her? So that's just thinking.
Thank you, Paula. Let us go back to the teenagers in Kardec's time. Let us see that in the 1800s, the perception of a girl or of a boy, they became mature when they were 13 or 14. They even married at the time, and they were trained for that. They had the maturity to be responsible, to get married at 15 and 17, and have a home and kids and everything. So saying this, and please forgive me, I'm guessing here, based on that thought, that the Kardec teenagers, girls, they have a level of maturity and all to do this, and also the spirit themselves. They knew that, I don't know, they knew, but they were coming with that mission, with that purpose. So it was in their reincarnatory plan to help with the books and everything. Now, about what is going on with the girls, and then in general with women, that we are more sensible and perceive things, right? We are more like a, ooh. Not to say that guys doesn't. It has to be, and with the puberty, as I mentioned before, you develop, it's kind of open up your womanhood and your connection. I'm going to call it to the universe or to God, because poverty comes different for boys and for girls, and for girls is linked to reproduction, to being a mother. Obviously, we don't want a teenager to be a mother, but that's what is happening, naturally speaking, you know? And also the vital fluids are stronger in teenagers and out of control sometimes. Did I answer your question?
Thank you, Paula, for the question, Alba, for the answer. We have a comment or a question from Antonia. Daniel, if you can put on the screen. Antonia asks, my sister has mediumship in dreams, and she prayed for one of the spirit to not contact her again in dreams. Is this okay?
Oh, yeah.
The follow-up question is, or she should have assisted that spirit in her request. The messages were confused, and she did not want to get involved.
Okay. Thank you, Antonia. Um, when we are connected to social media, the old-fashioned way, Facebook, but I know there is Twitter and Instagram and all these accounts, right? Uh, when we receive a message that we don't like, we don't want, what do we normally do? We skip, we delete it, we unfollow the person. What help me here, Miss Kirsten. What do you do? The people who use these social media things. We unfollow, right? Unfriend, block, because we don't want that person to be involved with us anymore. That, as a matter of fact, is a real connection. It's mind to mind. It's real. It's happening. We think it's only in the little gadget. No, it's happening. So that's what we do. I think, Antonia, your sister has the right, and we all have the right to say, I have an ostensible mediumship, but I don't want to communicate with you. A Dr. Juan Danilo say, are you telling me to do this? I don't want to do this. We have free will to say this, and it is okay. And to pray for the spirit, yes, we will pray if we truly feel it, because sometimes we don't feel it. And we're not going to lie. Sometimes in the mediumistic meeting comes such a strong spirits strong in the negative way, that sometimes we get scared. It's like, ay, Dios mío, oh my God, and your heartbeat is like, and we know we are in a safe place. So to feel compassion for this spirit that is being so rough or so mean is not easy. But through work, we find the compassion, and we pray for the spirit, even if the spirit doesn't want the prayer. But we have the right to pick our friends and to choose our friends as well as our spiritual friends.
Thank you, Alba. I would like to. Sorry, I got distracted there. Got a gift. I'll share later one.
Today, you have the right to be distracted.
Thank you.
Everything that you want, Leo.
Don't say that. No, I would like to go back to that part that you mentioned of your talk, that Jesus brought to a completely different level of what we understand in terms of mediumship. It was a beautiful picture that you brought to us to see. But I want to go back to Moses. Why did Moses say no to mediumship, and did Jesus come and changes the whole thing?
Say evolution, yes. Yes, because since in the dawn of humankind, We communicate with the spirits, through the fire and the dances and the rituals, etc., etc. So at most times, as a humanity, we were very immature, spiritually ignorant, and morally in a moral disarray. In the sense, it was phase in our evolution in which we were still like a kids, spiritually speaking. We weren't ready to take mediumship and use it seriously and for good purposes. And we know there are still shows in TV showing mediums or the mediumship, whatever. We don't want to discredit anybody here, but it's showing how to misuse. So here is the medium, as if my mother is here. Is she okay? And I'm going to win the lottery. What's the number for the lottery? I'm planning to buy a house. That's not the purpose of mediumship. Not at all. We need to make those decisions. We need to do the work. So for Moses, a way to control that big crowd of Jewish that were coming from polytheism and they are becoming monotheists. So from adoring multiple gods to one God, it was a hard transition. So he needed to do something and said, you know what? No communication with the spirits except the prophets. But that's another story. And then when Jesus came, I don't know how many years were between Moses and Jesus, but as a social group, as a community, they were ready. And there is a group of spirits that are coming with Jesus. It was a whole plan there. It's not just Jesus, okay, let me go there. Be peaceful, love yourself and your neighbor. No, it was a whole team, a spiritual team, incarnate people that were already assigned with a specific task and missions. And if Mary didn't want to accept the mission, it was Mary 2 and Mary 3 and Mary 4. We don't know. But it was a plan. So we were ready for that.
I will give the opportunity for someone else to say something else if you wish to. If not, we'll conclude here this amazing moment that we had here. As I would like to repeat again, please bring it to heart, right? Because it is part of us. It is a reality. And it's beautiful that you put as, make sure we have a purpose behind, like anything in life, right? As we purposely use our resources, as we purposely, in a good way, obviously, take care of one another and we live in community, there's got to be a purpose behind, without which we can, and don't charge, right? That kind of really destroys any purpose. So that's a good point. But it's definitely for us to rethink about our lives and how we deal with one another in both realms of life, as we always like to say in the Spirit Center. Thank you, Alba. We will go ahead and have our moments, home moment of passes, which will be.
Can I say the plan?
Go ahead, say the plan.
We didn't plan this. Here's the plan. We're going to bring back the message from the Spirit, probably to put a soft music, dim the light. We read it, as a visualization. And since we are all mediums, we are going to close our eyes and we are going to receive the spiritual passes. Is that right, Director?
Awesome. Thank you. I will not stay on the middle of that message. So
It's not Alvita Morales. It's someone else.